All right, here we go. We are starting in on chapter 13. I plunged to my death. We spent 2 days on the Amtrak train, heading west, through hills, over rivers, past amber waves of grain. We weren't attacked once, but I couldn't relax. I felt that we were traveling around in a display case, being watched from above and maybe down from below, and that something was waiting for the right opportunity. I tried to keep a low profile because my name and pictures were splattered all over the front pages of several East Coast newspapers. The Trenton Register News showed a picture taken by a tourist as I got off the Greyhound bus. I had a wild look in my eyes. My sword was a metallic blur in my hands. It might have been a baseball bat, or maybe a lacrosse stick. The picture's caption read, 12-year-old Percy Jackson, wanted for questioning in the Long Island disappearance of his mother 2 weeks ago, is shown here fleeing from the bus where he accosted several elderly female passengers. The bus exploded on an East New Jersey roadside shortly after Jackson fled the scene. Based on eyewitness accounts, the police believe the boy may be traveling with 2 teenage accomplices. His stepfather, Gabe Uglano, has offered a cash reward for any information leading to his capture. Don't worry, Annabeth told me. Mortal police could never find us. But still, she didn't sound so sure. The rest of the day I spent alternating pacing the length of the train, because I really have a hard time sitting still, or just looking out the windows. Once I spotted a family of centaurs galloping across a wheat field, bows at the ready as they hunted lunch. The little boy centaur, who was about the size of a second grader on a pony, caught my eye and waved. I looked around the passenger car, but nobody else noticed. The adult riders all had their faces buried in laptop, computers, or magazines. Another time, toward evening, I saw something huge moving through the woods. I could have sworn it was a lion, except lions don't live in wild in America, and this thing was the size of a Hummer. Its fur glinted gold in the evening light. Then it leapt through the trees and was gone. Our reward money for returning Gladiola, the poodle, had only been enough to purchase tickets as far as Denver. We couldn't get berths in the sleeper car, so we dozed in our seats. My neck was really stiff. I tried not to drool in my sleep since Annabeth was sitting right next to me. Grover kept snoring and bleeding and then waking up. Once he shuffled around and his fake foot fell off. Annabeth and I had to stick it back on really quick before any of the other passengers noticed. So, Annabeth asked me, once we'd gotten Grover's sneaker readjusted, who wants your help? What do you mean? When you were asleep just now, you were mumbling, I won't help you. So who was it you were dreaming about? I was reluctant to say anything. It was the second time I'd dreamed about this evil voice from the pit, but it bothered me so much I finally had to tell her. Annabeth was quiet for a really long time. That doesn't sound like Hades. He always appears on a black throne, and he never laughs. He offered my mother in trade. Who else would do that? I guess if he meant help me rise from the underworld, if he wants war with the Olympians, but why ask you to bring him the Master Bolt if he already has it? I shook my head, wishing I knew the answer. I thought about what Grover had told me, that the Furies on the bus seemed to have been looking for something. Where is it? Where? Maybe Grover sensed my emotions. He snorted in his sleep, muttered something about vegetables, and then turned around and went back to sleep. Annabeth readjusted his cap so that it covered his horns. Percy, you can't barter with Hades. You know that, right? He's deceitful, heartless, and greedy, and I don't care if his kindly ones weren't as aggressive this time. This time? I asked. You mean you've run into them before? Her hand crept up to her necklace, and she fingered a glazed white bead painted with the image of a pine tree, one of her clay end of summer tokens. Let's just say I've got no love for the Lord of the Dead. You can't be tempted to make a deal for your mom. What would you do if it was your dad? That's easy, she said. I'd leave him to rot. You're not serious. Annabeth's gray eyes fixed on me. She wore the same expression she'd worn in the woods at camp, the moment she drew her sword against the hellhound. My dad's resented me since the day I was born, Percy, she said. He never wanted a baby. When he got me, he asked Athena to take me back and raise me on Olympus because he was too busy with work. She was not happy about that. She told him heroes had to be raised by their mortal parent. But how? I mean, I guess you weren't born in a hospital? I appeared on my father's doorstep in a golden cradle carried down from Olympus by the zephyr of the west wind. You'd think my dad would remember that as a miracle, right? Like maybe he'd take some digital photos or something. but he always talked about my arrival as if it was the most inconvenient thing that has ever happened to him. When I was 5, he got married and completely forgot about Athena. He got a regular mortal wife and had 2 regular mortal kids, and he tried to pretend that I just didn't even exist. I stared out the train window. The lights of a sleeping town were just drifting by. I wanted to make Annabeth feel better, but I just didn't know how. My mom married a really awful guy, too, I told her. Grover said she did it to protect me, to hide me in the scent of human family. Maybe that's what your dad was thinking for you. Annabeth kept worrying at her necklace. She was pinching the gold college ring that hung with the beads. It occurred to me that the ring must be her father's. I wondered why she wore it if she hated him so much. He doesn't care about me, she said. His wife, my stepmom, treated me like a freak. She wouldn't let me play with her children even. My dad went along with her. Whenever something dangerous happened, something with monsters, they would both look at me resentfully, like, how dare you put our family at risk? Finally, I took the hint. I wasn't wanted, and I ran away. How old were you? Same age as when I started camp. 7. But you could have gotten all the way to Half-Blood Hill by yourself, could you? No, not alone. Athena watched over me and guided me towards help. I made a couple of unexpected friends, also, who took care of me, for a short time anyway. I wanted to ask her what happened, but Annabeth seemed lost in sad memories. So instead, I listened to the sound of Grover snoring, and I gazed out the train windows as the dark fields of Ohio raced by. Toward the end of our second day on the train, June 13th, 8 days before the summer solstice, we passed through some golden hills and over the Mississippi River and into St. Louis. Okay, boys and girls, that looks like a good place to start. Having a little trouble with the whole words thing today. Anyway, that is a good place to stop. We'll pick up again tomorrow. And I just wanted to say thanks to the 5 of you that showed up on the call today. It was really, really fun to be able to connect with everybody again and just to see your smiling faces. I've missed so much. So thank you. And I'll try and do that again tomorrow. So, all right, bye.